As Players Championship 15 continues, we've already seen wins for Heta and Williams. Now, Pikachu in action against Callan Rydz. And it's a great pleasure for Dan Dawson to join me. Sorry, it's a great pleasure for me to be joined by Dan Dawson. I got mixed up for a minute there.
No,
Dan.
you were
Sorry
right the first time.
Yes,
You were right the first time. I thought I'd come and check out what's going on Streaming Board 2. And it turns out it's one of the most exciting young talents on the planet in Callan Rydz. And Ricardo Pietreczko, who in the space of about a year has gone from an also-ran who was obviously a capable darts player. He'd got himself on the tour. 58. But now a player who you start thinking maybe he could do a little bit more. He was very, very close to making his debut at the World Match Play this year. He missed out narrowly in the end. Needed to win another game or two 140. In the last qualifying event on the European Tour. Didn't quite manage it. But what he has done, he's risen above the pecking order. You've already seen Florian Hempel on this board. He, behind Gabriel Clemens and Martin Schindler, was the main German player. Now, Ricardo Pietreczko has overtaken him in the relevant Pro Tour list.
51.
Well, it was round about this time of year, wasn't it? A couple of years ago now that Rydz suddenly burst onto the scene.
97.
At the match play when he defeated Rob Cross with a flurry of flashy finishes, most of them culminating on the bullseye, as I recall. Let's just watch this first on the double 16.
Game shot.
Oh, lovely start. Well, if he needed a stomach settler, that will be it, Dan, won't it?
Yes.
Very nice.
96.
He is a player, Pikachu, who does not seem to get flustered. If anything, he just seems to be... He seems to have fun. He's genuinely been laughing himself silly up on stages in the past. In what are quite high-pressure situations, his way of dealing with these situations appears to be recognise the ludicrous nature of it all and laugh it off. He also does some pretty ludicrous things on a dartboard. Don't be surprised if he goes for a double, like intentionally
100.
sets up a double that other players just wouldn't do. He'll go and take out 51 with a single 17, a double 17, or something bizarre like that. Very much a vibes-based player is Pikachu, just whatever he's feeling at the moment.
Who are we to doubt him?
121. $43.
Well, in the kind of random and wacky World Championships in darts, we saw my old sparring partner Wayne Mardell win the World Walk-On Championship. If there's a World Nickname Championship, Pikachu would be amongst the favourites, wouldn't he?
I did not have you down for a Pokemon fan, Rod.
Well, I just like the nickname. I think it's inventive. I'm not au fait with all the rules and regulations of Pokemon, but I like the nickname.
Well, I mean, you say it's inventive. I mean, he's lifted it entirely from an already established brand. You could argue it's the least inventive thing out there. And that wasn't particularly effective from Pikachu. Leaves himself 73, needs a treble. Gets the treble, double 8 for 2-0. That will do very nicely. Ricardo Pietreczko takes out 70 and then 85 for a 2-0 lead.
Well, no disrespect to Callan Rydz, which is an indicator that I'm going to say something that he might not like. If it was a nickname competition, I think Pikachu would knock out the Riot.
Right. I mean,
and he's looking likely to knock him out in a darts competition here because he's 2-0 up in a race to 6 early doors.
In the short-lived darts-based game show 59. On Sky, in which you're an integral part, Rod, were you not branded with a nickname of your own? What was that?
Well, that was due to Andrew Freddie Flintoff, whose nickname is far better than mine. I think he kept calling me the Stud, didn't he?
The Stud.
I think he did.
And, where would that get in the World Cup of nicknames?
Not in the top 96.
Right, failed to qualify.
It would have lost to Andrew Freddie Flintoff.
Right, okay.
Without a question. Right, back to the serious business, Daniel.
Yes, a serious business. The winner of this one will face either Keane Barry or Tony Martinez. And Ricardo Pietreczko, as I was saying earlier on, how he's working his way up the world of darts. He is the seeded player here. He's seeded number 30, and that's against the guy who's won 2 PDC ranking titles. But the slide from the Riot in recent months has been alarming. I, for one, thought that this year would be a big year for Callan Rydz, and it may yet prove to be so, but of all the players we've got going to the World Match Play, when you look at the world rankings, Callan Rydz is in the top 32, but not in the 32-player field for mine. The only other player in that position is Mervyn King, and he's had some real tough times this year.
Yeah, I mentioned Rydz bursting onto the scene with that run in the match play a couple of years ago when he beat Rob Cross, but he then followed it up with the Worlds, didn't he?
He was incredible at the World
Championship. Oh, it was amazing. At one point, you thought he could actually win the tournament.
His campaign at the World Championship was far better than the match play. His level of play was brilliant. Didn't drop a set until the quarterfinals, and was only pretty narrowly beaten in the quarterfinal by Peter Wright.
And he was all over right early on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Tops then for Pikachu, and this is very good. This is very efficient. He's 3-0 up.
Yet to miss a dart at double.
80.
Yes, the doubling efficiency has been very good. German efficiency on the doubles.
Pretty efficient on the treble there with the first 180. Now, Callan Rydz, can he respond?
100.
He's a seductive player to watch, Callan Rydz. He's so quick, he's so fluent. When he's at his best, he makes the game look easier than most players will ever do. And the problem is, he's not making it easy at the minute. Pikachu is making it very, very hard for him. Again, you see the big smile from Pikachu there, who was on the 9-darter for 4 darts and then just laughed at the ridiculous situation that he was entertaining the idea of a perfect leg. Glancing at the board, trying to figure out the numbers, realises he needs another treble.
54.
Cannot get it.
This is better. That's excellent from Callan Rydz, and that has given him every chance of, at long last, getting a leg on the board, which will make him feel a whole lot better, because it's not a nice feeling when you're stuck on 0. It just seems to run away from you.
100.
Well, he's being asked a question here because Pietreczko's on a 2-dart combination. It doesn't matter what he's on now, does it? And Rydz gets on the board.
We are still yet to see a dart missed at double in this game. This is the 3rd time these two have played each other this year. All in round 1 of these Pro Tour events. In 3 different venues as well. Barnsley, Wigan, and now in Leicester. It's 1 win apiece, and they've been very similar games. Certainly in terms of the averages. Callan Rydz averaging 97 and winning. And then Pietreczko averaging 97 and winning. And right now, Pietreczko is averaging over 100
99
and winning.
And with Rydz down in the low 80s, which doesn't get it done very often on the PDC Pro Tour. It used to get it done, but that was in the mid-90s.
58. $45.
Well, this looking all over 4-1 to Pietreczko. And this should be just a coast downhill to the end of this leg, really, from
84.
here.
You would think the flawless finishing is not going to continue for the whole match, but it may only need to continue for 3 or 4 minutes more for Pietreczko to potentially be 5-1 up. And then Callan Rydz, as brilliant as he is, winning 5 legs on the spin against a man averaging about a ton is going to be very, very difficult.
Can he continue the double hitting streak?
40.
And you see Dan Dawson said it would end, and it has. Instantaneously.
105.
Somehow bullies his way through to that treble 20.
The players can't hear us. I have commentated on games when the players could hear you, and it was a bit like whispering Ted Lowe in the snooker when you just had to be really hushed for fear they'd hear you saying that's a bad dart. That's not a bad dart, is it? And he moves ahead. He might have lost his unblemished record on the doubles, but it's still very impressive
96.
stuff.
Well, what hasn't changed is that Callan Rydz has only been allowed darts at double in one leg of this game. And you don't have to be either a darts expert or a strategic genius to know that you're not going to win any games of darts in a first to six contest if you only get darts to win one leg.
180.
Well, that will get him nearer to getting a double in this leg, getting a dart and a double anyway, because he hits a maximum again, second time, but he's either got to hope that his opponent drops off, or he's got to
46.
produce a burst of 15 dart legs or fewer to get himself back into one or the other or both.
35.
Well, cracking grouping of those darts. Unfortunately, they're all in the 5 segment.
Well, the frustration there was the maximum was followed by what the great Sid Waddell would describe as a bag of nails.
100.
And all of a sudden, it's got tight in this
Yes.
leg.
And it will get tighter.
45.
And in fact, now you might even argue he's second favourite for a leg that he looks certain to win.
180, and then managed to score only 80 with the next 6 darts. And Ricardo Pietreczko with a brilliant setup shot. It's on, but no longer.
94.
And Pietreczko, I'd imagine, will go straight for this.
But you sound unconvinced by your own argument, Dan. He does go straight for it. And now he's going to have to split it.
26.
Well, again, an idiosyncratic choice to leave double 12. It may not matter. It doesn't matter as Rydz mops up. Well, that was a curious leg, Dan, wasn't it? Because it swung one way, then the other. At one point, Rydz looked certain to win it. Then Pikachu looked certain, not certain to win it, but certainly favourite to win it. And then in the end, Rydz did win it, and it's kept him afloat.
100.
Yeah, so he's a good 200 points clear, and then found himself having to watch Pikachu miss the first darts at double in the leg. And now Callan Rydz finds another maximum. He's hit 3 in the last 4 legs, and is this the burst, coupled with a little bit of luck, that maybe Rydz needs to turn things around? Or maybe Ricardo Pietreczko is just going to keep banging in the big scores himself. $140. 4 out of 5 perfect darts to start the leg for Callan Rydz, and yet Pietreczko should be first to a finish again. Gary Anderson's got his campaign off and running, a 6-2 victory over Darren Webster, a 97 average 100. From one of the top performers in the Pro Tour this year. Man is going to the match play not as a seeded player this year. What a leg. 123.
Well, it's been an entertaining match anyway, but this leg has been particularly entertaining. Will it be ended here with a 3-figure out shot? Will not. Well, going that way would have darts purists going apoplectic 85. With rage. And Rydz can close to within a leg here. He can, and he has. And I tell you what, this leg now could level the match. And it's back on throw, almost from nowhere.
45.
Well, it did go to a last leg decider when they last met. That was when Pietreczko won it. And he is still a good 9 points clear in the averages in this game overall, but it does 83. Not matter. That's just a guide. That's just a. It's how fast they've gone so far in the game. It's how fast they go from now till the end that 83. Determines who wins the race.
And it's difficult to say that there's any relevance to what was happening in the first 3 legs now, isn't it? Does it matter? Well, it matters in terms of the score, but does it matter in terms of trying to project forward what might happen 94. In the remaining legs? Probably not.
Probably not. but has Ricardo Pietreczko built himself a platform upon which to win the game, despite Callan Rydz getting better as the match goes on?
Yes. I wish I'd said it like that. Could he limp over the line? Would be another way of saying it, because that's what he's doing at the moment. He's kind of stumbling towards the line, and Rydz is put a sprint on here at the back end of the match.
Has Pietreczko got much worse, though? Is it just that Rydz has got a lot better?
180.
Doesn't look like he's playing
I think it's more
dreadfully.
the latter than the former.
60.
Well, after being hit with a 12-dart leg, Pietreczko could hit back with one of his own. Oh, another in there. Not quite.
72 scored, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't matter how far you lean, Ricardo, it wasn't in.
84.
Yeah, golfers do that a lot, don't they? Seem to think leaning one way will make the ball go the other way, and it never does. Leaning one way like that after the dart has been thrown will not affect its trajectory. Right then. Wants the double above that single to restore order in this match as far as he's concerned.
Well, you have to say the finishing from Ricardo Pietreczko in this game has been absolutely brilliant. The only times that he struggled were the couple of darts he had at double 19, ended up losing that leg. He did miss another dart at double, but won the leg anyway because Rydz was unable to take out a massive
97.
Finish. So it has been a brilliant display from the German. The average is still up in the high 90s. The finishing has been brilliant. 99. You take those two things together and you become very, very difficult to beat. And it looks like he'll be too difficult to beat for Callan Rydz today.
5 out of 9 now on the doubles. Pietreczko and Rydz. Pretty handy in that regard too. 3 out of 5.
Not enough opportunities.
Not enough opportunities.
84.
There seems to be an air of resignation around the young man from Bedlington. Oh, lives in Blythe now, to be fair. Treble 18, you would think.
58. $60.
Yeah, the shoulders have slumped, haven't they, for Callan Rydz?
Well, he may have missed out on the World Match Play, Ricardo Pietreczko, but the race to get to the World Grand Prix for the first time in his career is still 41. Very much on, and he is literally the spot just outside those places. So come the end of today, come the end of tomorrow, say, he could well be in a provisional spot for the World Grand Prix. There is still an awful... There's 98. Always more to play for on the darts circuit.
Yeah, those races to qualify for big TV tournaments continue through the year, don't they? When one shuts, another opens.
The money he won in trying to get to the match play was not quite enough to get to Blackpool, but there's still big chunks of that help getting to Leicester in the Grand Prix. Right here, in fact.
In this very same venue, although it looks slightly different when the TV stage is put up than it does for the PDC Pro Tour Players Championship events over the next couple of days.
He'll get a match dart. Double 16 the target. And Ricardo Pietreczko just falters. Will he be allowed back to win it in this leg? 20 for tops. A little shuffle. And a little double top is a break of throw, and Callan Rydz now has the darts looking to level the game at 5 apiece.
And midway through that leg, Dan suggested there was an air of resignation about Callan Rydz.
180.
There's not now with that 180, but it seemed at one point when he was walking to the back of the oche that he felt like walking all the way past the oche, past the drinks table, out of the venue and back into his car. But he somehow managed to get himself back into the match, or still in the match, because the match start was missed narrowly at double 16. Rydz took out that finish and now is one behind with the darts here, can level and force it 46. All the way, which seemed unlikely, say 3 or 4 minutes ago.
134.
Oh, beautiful stuff.
140.
Again, it's such a... It's almost hypnotic watching Rydz when he's in full flight. It looks so convincing, so it looks like he can do it all day.
140.
2 visits from here for 5 all. No need to incorporate the ball first off.
$95.
And that's the benefit of doing it.
Would settle for that, wouldn't he, every day of the week? Pietreczko is trying to leave the same target that Rydz has left here, but he won't do that. He'll leave
100.
80. Rydz then for a level game. He's been behind all match. He's not
Game
now,
shot.
he's level. 5 each. Having won 2 legs on the trot from 3-5 adrift. He's been adrift ever since the match started. Lost the first 3 legs of the match, and this is the first time he's managed to get back on level terms.
But he is still very much
180.
second favourite because it's another maximum Pietreczko. 9 in this game in total, 5 of them to the German.
140.
He's still averaging round about the ton here, Ricardo Pietreczko. Callan Rydz has produced some excellent stuff to win 5 of the last 7 legs.
Well, Rydz has climbed up the
140.
proverbial mountain to get to the peak, only to find someone's up there before him ready to tread on his hand. That's what he must feel like, because
95.
he's got all the way to almost to the summit, but someone has got up there ahead of him with the German flag and is ready to plant it there to win 6-5. You would think from here, but it's not over yet.
Could incorporate the bull. No,
100.
gamble pays off. Leaves 81 after 3 visits to the board. Rydz is going to get to a finish. He's going to get to a very similar one.
180.
Well, full credit to him there, because he could have felt this is the end and folded his hand, but he did the exact opposite. And now it's 2 finishes in the 80s. Either or both could end with a bullseye shot. This one does.
44.
Well, he had a near miss on double 16 for the match in the couple of legs ago, but that was not a near miss, was it? Oh my
Game
word!
And
Callan Rydz has absolutely pickpocketed this match. Brilliant finish in the back end there with 86.